But anyway, let's talk about another story which just depresses me no end, and it's the death of the great American city. I have always loved Chicago, but it seems like Chicago is now on a path to utter self-destruction. They've elected a new woke mayor, Brandon Johnson, who wants a $12 billion financial package to raise taxes for certain residents, I would say income-producing ones. You wrote about this on your Powerline blog. Talk us through just how bonkers some of these proposals are.
James, it's really unbelievable. People thought that Chicago had hit the bottom of the barrel when they elected Lori Lightfoot as mayor, and crime just spiraled out of control. The economy in Chicago is in the dumps. And there was a mayoral election, and Lori Lightfoot did lose, but she lost to this guy, Brandon Johnson, on her left. If you can imagine that, Chicago's voters went for a more left-wing candidate than Lori Lightfoot. So now they put together this proposal to raise an additional $12 billion in taxes to fund what they call a just Chicago. Well, it turns out that a just Chicago, among other things, means defunding the police. So they want to raise $12 billion from Chicago residents with a 3.5% income tax, with a wealth tax, with a huge tax on jet fuel to catch people flying in and out of the city, and so forth. And they're not going to spend that $12 billion to make Chicago safer, which is what everybody wants. You'd think everybody wants.
Well, you think.
Instead, they're going to make it more just.
Just. Well, I mean, we're hearing that word abused a lot. And is it true that the name of this program is called First We Get the Money? I mean, that does kind of give it away, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It's like a gang of thieves. First we get the money, then we'll figure out how to divvy it up. It's a very sad story, James. But Chicago's not alone. San Francisco, Portland, other American cities are just circling the drain, frankly.
It's a real shame because, you know, the great American city used to be a wonderful thing, as we both know. But I want to move on to another story, which is disturbing and strange, but also tells us a bit about where we are. And we've seen more than 60 legislators in Tennessee signing a letter in Tennessee calling for the Metro Nashville police to release the manifesto of that shooter who shot up the Covenant School a couple of months ago. John, normally when there's a shooter and a manifesto, we generally get it right away. Why do you think it is taking so long for this document about this terrible, horrible crime to be released?
Well, James, I think we can only assume it's because this manifesto indicates that Audrey Hale was motivated to commit this mass murder by the radical trans movement, which she had just joined shortly before she carried out these murders. And these murders took place right before a national so-called Trans Day of Vengeance that was being promoted by the leaders of this increasingly violent movement. And they had a lot of violent imagery. Stop the genocide, they're saying, which of course is insane. But this woman, Audrey Hale, had become a recent convert to this trans movement. And I think everybody believes that if we finally see the manifesto, we're going to find out that she was motivated to do this by this very radical and very violent trans ideology.